Choose your character.
Round one.
All right. Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is One-on-One with Deuces, the place where I speak with creators, curators, and people that you should know. And right now, man, if you listen to my podcast, you already know that this is a DeMane Davis stan account. And I'm so excited because we have DeMane herself here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. So honored to be here.
I love it. And, so here's the thing. We make sure that we give people their flowers while they are still here, right? And so, I'm a big fan of a lot of directors, a lot of EPs, a lot of writers and everything. And when I got put onto you, so obviously I got put onto you by Queen Sugar. And then I started following everything and going back and just seeing everything that you do. And then when the announcement came that you're going to be a part of NAOMI, which I love the Arrowverse in general. So I was excited about that. And I was like, yo, this is going to be so dope. And, I make it a point to make sure that I talk about, NAOMI and talk about it because I love that representation of, what her character stands for. But I just love that it's a Black show ran by Black individuals. It has a Black, it has you and Ava a part of it. It's such a beautiful thing. And I love everything that you stand for, because even when you talk about it and even when Ava talks about it and the way that you guys even fill out your crew, like, so not even just on
crew,
but the crew. It's like I love that. It's everything that I stand for. So I just want to make sure I give you your flowers, say thank you for what you are doing. And man, it's just amazing. And so yeah, just want to make sure that you know that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yep. I appreciate what you do. And I'm so honored to be here with you.
So I do want to get into your path real quick, because your path, and one of the things that I find very interesting about it is that you were working a 9-to-5, right? You were in finance, correct?
No, in advertising.
Advertising. Sorry about the advertising.
Yeah.
I got to mix the advertising, right? You was in advertising, but what I find interesting is when you talk about it, you say advertising was my side hustle while I do this. Where most people, like myself included, like I'm actually on my lunch break right now doing this interview. So that's how dedicated I am. But like I call this, my dream, my passion, because it's not paying the bills like my job is, right? So I want to ask you, like, when did you change your thought process on that? When did you start looking at advertising as your side hustle? Because this was your walk of life, writing and everything like that.
I think probably... I mean, look, I listen, my mama hustled. She worked 2 jobs and went to night school. And so I got my hustle from her. And advertising is really like 10-hour days, could be a 12-hour day. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like advertising really prepared me for the entertainment industry, which is, because when you're on set, that's easily 15-hour days, 16, sometimes 20. Right. So I feel like when did I really stop? I would say probably with Lift, second feature film, Kerry Washington's first solo feature.
Right.
Stopped for a bit, but still had the ad agency, like owned a couple of small agencies. So still had an ad agency then that when I went back to while we were editing, and then that got into Sundance and did the festival circuit. So probably fully out. I mean, I would have to say once I did Queen Sugar, once Ava slipped into my DMs and, put me in.
Right. I love that story, by the way. Yeah. I was like, are we promoting sliding in DMs now? Because
apparently it works.
Right.
Apparently.
But also about that, and this is where, like, me going into this, it's me and 3 people. We don't have any major networks. We don't have anybody backing us, right? So I feel truly blessed to get people like yourself to be on my platform, because I'm like, yo, this was really me talking to your people. Like, I didn't have nobody co-sign it. It's like really the work, You know, your people did the research. They looked at the work. They said, okay, this would be a good platform for, you know, our client. And I love the fact that it's me doing it, right? But again, I'm just operating. I don't have any mentor. Like, I wish I had a mentor, but I don't have anybody to navigate me through this, right? So like, I get in my head often, like, dang, like, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? But where you gave me validation, and I just want to bring this point up before I let you talk. Ava slid in your DMs and you said, you know, the interview I was listening to, it was about 4 years ago when that happened, right? And you said, man, I had to restrain myself from emailing her every time because that's what you wanted to do, right? Yeah. And so like, I've been fortunate enough to have certain people who's made themselves available to me, certain people that I know that if they actually gave me an opportunity would change my life, but I appreciate them for making themselves available to me. But I have that thought process. I'm like, man, should I be more direct with like what I want from them or not? And so it's like I said, I don't know, but it was like you had that moment where Ava slid in your DM, but y'all really didn't start getting to work until, you know, 3-4 years after that. Like
year after.
And so I was like, okay, it was like just seeing your path to where you are at. It was like, it helped validate some of the things that I've been doing, and it gave me perspective. And so, you know, it's like, it's one of those things, but it's like that I constantly battle with that, trying to figure out like, okay, because like, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Well, are you having a good time?
I'm loving it.
You love it. That's it. Yeah. Then you're doing it right. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You know, you're changing lives. You are creating a platform. You saw a void. Yeah. And you said, I don't have this, and this is what I want to see. And you created it. That's the most honorable, generous thing that you could do. Like, you're giving that to other people. So who wouldn't want to be a part of that? You have great enthusiasm for it and knowledge, and it's all going to come towards you. You know, it's going to blossom and grow as you continue to commit to it and say, this is what I want, you know? Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And this, again, another thing that it goes to, it's funny how when people start to inspire other people and they don't realize it. So you had once said that you had a dream, that someone told you to teach people how to dream. And then when you woke up from that dream, it made you smile, right? Now, have you
did a deep dive?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. I say, if I'm going to be this Black brand company and my podcast, I'm gonna make sure that I do the work. I don't want people to come on here and be like, okay, you know, because you know how sometimes that's that stigma that we have. But I want to show that it's there. But I want to know, have you sat back and realized that with your actions and what you are doing, you are teaching people how to dream, and you are fulfilling that, I guess, that prophecy that you had in that dream?
I guess so. Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. I guess so. You know, I'm in the same groove as you, where I'm like, this feels good. It feels right. It doesn't, you know, I just did I did like a seminar thing, like all day, and one of the directors on it said, well, so what happens when 5 years from now, when you're doing this and it becomes a labor, and it's just, you know, like you're getting a paycheck? And I'm like, you don't do it anymore. Like, it should never feel like this. Like, it is an absolute dream and honor to be doing what I'm doing. I get to work in the land of make-believe with a bunch of skilled craftspeople who are all dedicated to that same script. You know, you talked about the crew, Array Crew, which is, you know, the company that Ava created, which is essentially people who look like us, who are out there, you know, DPs, gaffers, key grips, costumes, hair, makeup. It's the most diverse crew that you can get. And so to be with all of those people, to be making a show like NAOMI is like, I would, that's a dream. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think about it that often, because I think I'm in it. I think sometimes, like, NAOMI is wrapped now. I do then I'm kind of like, oh yeah. And then as I watch the show, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, this is a really big deal. You know what I mean?
Man, I remember when DC fandom happened and they showed the trailer, you know, obviously, you know, we covered it on our podcast, but I was like, one, I didn't even know that they were building the NAOMI show. So when I saw it, I said, whoa, what is that? You know what I'm saying? We was fresh off of WandaVision. So we had Monica Rambeau that we was like, yo, I can't wait to see her on the big screen. So it's like when we got to see that. But with Array, and this is what I love about Array, and that's why I'm a huge Ava stan account as well. But what I love about Array, and it's something that you talk about all the time, she goes out of her point to make sure she gives first-time directors, writers, like opportunities, right? And especially Black women. But I love the fact that her crew is also dedicated to ushering it, making sure that you guys do it the proper way and it's not hostile, right? Because me, myself, doing this, open myself up to being a creator. I've been I've started doing background work. I'm out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I just go to Chicago all the time and try to, work on stuff as I can. But, and I don't think a lot of people know, but being on a set with like legitimate actors and people who've been doing this their life, like I'm 1 year in doing this, it is very intimidating. And I have not been on a set yet where somebody made me feel very comfortable. So hearing your story about that and hearing other people, doing this, interviewing people, I've heard people's horror stories like, yo, I was on this set and this set was like this. So I love the fact that the mission is, all right, we're going to get first-time people, but we're not going to treat them like they're just first-time people and like, oh, you're wasting our time. We're going to help them so that way they could be the excellence that we see in them. And I love that so much because I'm like, that's all real. Like, that's what people need in the community. Like, yes, this may be my first time here, but help me get to a level where now we are rocking like crazy. And that's, I love that mission. And I think because of your thought process, hearing you speak and how you say, I don't think you're ever going to get to that point where it's going to feel like labor, because for you, the passion not only is to put out, great work, but you also like helping people. You said that your mission is you want to be able to matter of fact, verbatim, you said you were put here to save lives. You want to save lives. And I said that right there. Like, so it's like, I don't think you'll ever get to a point where it feels like labor, because there's always people to help out.
No, there's always people to help out, and there's always people to encourage. And seeing someone else do good does you good. Yes. When being on this particular set, we laughed so hard, so long. Like, I've never laughed. Look, Ava's set, that's the first and only time still I have seen a Black female grip. Like, to see someone in that position, just rocking it with her headscarf, doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? I was like, unicorn, for NAOMI, we had a Black female B camera operator, Amber, complete badass. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, when we get together and we encourage each other, and to get to make a show like this, that is not just about, even NAOMI's friends. Yeah. You're looking at like the real friends that people have. I had someone said to me years ago, like, oh, you have all kinds of friends. You have Black friends, you have Asian friends, you have Puerto Rican friends. And I'm like, yeah, like that's it. Like, that's real. That's what that's life. That's life. And that's what, that's what this crew looks like. That's what NAOMI's crew looks like. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to see that and to be a part of it.
So speaking of NAOMI's crew, on set, do y'all hear Obama and Nate? Because he sounds like, okay, because I was like, is anybody else hearing this?
Yes. It's so funny. It's so funny. So Daniel, who plays Nathan, the first time that they did that was episode 3, when they're on the bus. And he said, I was there, but I'm not sure how it got there. I think he was just joking. Yeah. And he was like, future awaits. And everyone, whoa! And then I'm like, yo, dude, like, you talk like him all the time. Like,
all the time.
Like, I'm just waiting for, the movie to come for him where he could play, a young Obama. Yeah, he's fantastic. And he can dance. He's incredible dancer.
Oh, I remember watching The Wire. right? And I remember saying, like, man, Michael B. Jordan, he's very personable. And then start watching like just things that he was in. I was like, yo, he's gonna be big. Like, that's what I get from Nate. Like, this is my first really time, like, I guess, seeing this actor. And I was like, yo, this guy, I can see this guy being like lead man in some stuff in the future. You know what I'm saying?
I've told him too. I'm like, so you understand? He was like, oh, thank you. You know, he's very modest. He's a total gentleman. And there's just so many I almost let something slip. There's so many great things to come. There's so many great things coming.
I'm loving the series, man, because like I said, one of the things, and this is what I get from it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that I love about directors, writers, like everybody right now is that we are creating stuff that doesn't always root in trauma. I love the fact that NAOMI, like, now she's dealing with the trauma of not knowing who her parents is, but she's an alien, but it's not the Black trauma, right? And even through the walk of life, like even in that town, she's not dealing with racism. And, you know, and I'm not saying that that's not something that we don't need to address. But my thing is that I love the fact that we are getting that opportunity to do it. Like, yes, the fact that she's a Black girl is huge for the representation, but this is still a superhero show. The focus is on her learning her powers, finding out her origins, finding out this threat that she's going to have to fight against. Like, you know, it's that. And so I love that. And I feel like the show is making a point to do that. Like, it's like, okay, we understand the tropes and we understand the stuff that Black people deal with, but this show right now, and where we're at in this show, to serve the purpose is to build this superhero origin story.
Yeah, and it's doing it in a way where a lot of superhero stories don't do it, because usually you just, okay, I found a thing, I got the thing, now I got the powers, now I'm flying around, I'm doing the stuff, I'm pew, 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 and that's not this. Like, we're getting to really see what it feels like, how she grows and evolves. And it was incredible to be there since, you know, episode 2 and watch Casey actually evolve, watch her actually like mature and grow into this role. And as she's saying, okay, now I do this and now I have this and this happens, I'm like, yeah, it's like you're really learning and you're really doing it. So it's just, it feels really natural, and it's really, really great to watch. I feel like a lot of stories, everything happens so fast. And this is part of her journey. Is how do I roll with this? Like, how do my friends react? How do my parents react? Like, what in school? Like, now I have this and I have this duality, and how do I roll with that? You know what I mean? So you get to see her figure it out, which is great, because there are a lot of things that people that age are figuring out, you know, so it helps.
Well, and being a blurred yourself, because you have when you listed the comic books that you were in, like, you know, being in the blurred community, you know, everybody knows that, okay, we know the big names and everything like that, right? But you started naming like I was like, wait, whoa. She read, like, you named, like, it was Batman Black and White, of course. Like, I was like, oh, like that's like a really, really, like, you got to be deep into the comic books, you know. You said that, I think you said a friend got you in into World War Hulk. Watchmen was another one. And then, so I'm just like, so being a blurred yourself, so you know about comic book origins. The one thing that I appreciated about NAOMI is that, like, one, when she finally accepted that she has powers, she told her friends and her parents ASAP. Usually, we don't get the hero telling people until season 4, right?
That's right.
And she was like, you know, I don't want to lie. Let me tell you. And so we didn't have that back and forth of her trying to hide her identity. It's really like, okay, look here, I have a tribe with me, and we are all trying to find my identity. And I love that so much, because I was like, that's different. I've watched all of the Arrowverse. Everybody hid their identity. This is the first one. And so it's like, I love that a lot.
Yeah. And we all have a tribe. You know what I mean? We all have those people that we need to tell the truth, to help us through, you know what I mean? And so you get to see how someone like Annabelle is a ride. You know what I mean? Like, she's down. She's a ride.
I love that line, by the way.
So good. Joe Blankenship, showrunner, writer, like, incredible. And you know, Mary Charles, oh my God, she is just so, well, you Jill will tell us, it's like, I'll be like, can she riff on this line? It's like, yeah, let her riff. And she will just go. Yes. She will just go. Absolutely hilarious. But I love the different people who are finding out, how they're finding out, how they're choosing to accept and protect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus being like, wait a minute, what does this mean for me? And how do I know? They're still there. They're still down with her, which is awesome. That's what everybody wants. That's what I would want. If I had power, that's what I want. You know?
But you also, again, your directorial debut on that show is the most important part of a superhero's journey. It's the part where they accept that they have powers and they accept that, okay, my life is going to change and I need to go on to this journey. Getting that script and learning that you're going to direct this episode. What was your approach to that? Like, knowing how pivotal this is in comic book origins in general.
So when I get a script for anything that I'm going to direct, the first thing that I do is I read it and I freak out because I read it as a fan.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been extremely fortunate to everything that I've worked on, I've loved, I've been a fan of. You know, I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder for years, and then I get to work on How to Get Away with Murder. Like, what? You know, so first I'm like completely freaking out and then pacing and then like, what? And then I'm like, okay, you have to direct this. So let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And, you know, in that episode, like she was reluctant. She was kind of like, she was just backing away from it. Like the whole episode, she was like, no. And so a lot of what Casey and I talked about, especially in that scene on the bridge, is, you know, you're processing, but still this is not tracking. Yeah. Like, what are we here to do? Like, no, you're gonna jump off this. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. That is not, and that's what someone will really do. That's what I love about this show. It's grounded in this reality, yet it's a superhero show. And it has drama, it has laughter, it has action, you know what I mean? And it has sort of this like mystery thriller part of it as well. Yeah. So, and Jill and Ava have worked so well to, you know, just seamlessly take those genres, you know, that tone and like blend it all in. So it bubbles up and it works really well.
Yeah. And so a quick question, because so one thing that I noticed, and if I'm not mistaken, all right, so the city that she's in is in Oregon, right?
It's in Oregon, Port Oswego.
Oregon, right? But you're from Boston. Was that your choice to put her in the Boston crew neck?
My sister said that same thing. You know what? I didn't even realize she was wearing that until I got to set, and I was like, does that say Boston? That's from okay. No, that was not my choice. Okay. That was Cairo Court put her in that. I do not think that our costume designer, I'm pretty sure she does not know that I was from Boston. I was very surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, a Boston t-shirt.
That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, wait, why she got a Boston crew neck? And I was like, all right, that's probably DeMane. She probably did that.
No, you know, that was kismet. That just happened.
That just happened. So one last thing, and then we'll get into, we got two segments that we normally do. I know you have a hard out. So, but like with NAOMI being a part of the Arrowverse, and this is a fan question in regards to it. Do you know, well, you probably can't let me know. I was going to say with the crossover event, with the crossover event that is eventually going to happen, do you know if you're going to work on it? Okay, I'll take that. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. All right, so come on. We have two segments that we normally do. We do top 5 and a recommendation. So top 5, because you were a blurred yourself, I want to start off with, who's your top 5 superheroes?
Okay. So I gave this a lot of thought. Now I'm gonna go back real far.
Okay.
You gonna roll with me. So when I was little, there was a Shazam television show.
Yes, it was.
A live action Shazam television show. Now I love that, but also what came on right after that was Isis. And right? Oh, zephyr winds that flow on high, lift me now so I can fly. And she spun around.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I loved her, Almighty Isis. I loved that. Then I'm gonna go into Electra Woman and Dinah Girl.
Ooh,
right?
nice.
Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, right? Okay, because I was TV. I was TV all day, all night, like, you know, Latchkey Kid, like Captain Crunch, just all day. Then after that, well, I have to say Justice League I loved. You know, I was like the cartoon.
Yes.
Right? The old school cartoon.
Because it was written so well.
It was so great.
Oh my God. Like
I went back. Wonder Twins.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, although I gotta say, like the ice, like he could only do things with water. I'm like, they're making a Wonder Twins movie. I'm really excited to see how that does. And then of course, I got to go Wonder Woman. I got to give it up. I used to at night, I would say my prayers when I was little. The last thing I would say at night was, "And God, please make me Wonder Woman." I would literally say that. We could not, you know, we was, you know, could not afford the Wonder Woman underoos, but I circled them every time for Christmas. I was like, "Mommy," and she was like, "Yeah, no, you ain't getting it."
So now at some point, I feel like somebody's going to give it to you in your grown-up age.
Listen, I'll take them. I'll take them grown-up underoos. I'll take them. Really though, now of course, Naomi, just like,
of course,
that's my number one. I tell Casey, I told her a few times, I'm sure she got tired of her hearing it. I was like, I can't wait for Halloween. I can't wait for little girls.
So many people,
I might dress up as Naomi.
Right.
Come on.
I love it. I love it.
I get these braids.
Right.
Let's do this.
All right. So now I got to get into, in your wheelhouse, director influences. Who was your top 5?
So top 5, I got to go Gordon Parks.
Okay.
You know, just right off the bat, Learning Tree, Shaft, Master. Then I think I would go to Elia Kazan, who I loved. Did East of Eden and Gentleman's Agreement and some million other films. I love him. I love his style.
Right.
Julie Dash, of course. You know, you got to go with Julie Dash. Spielberg, you got to throw in Spielberg because that's like right. He in an interview I saw with him, he said, "I was afraid of sharks, so I made everybody afraid of sharks." I'm like, wow. Like that's what you could do. Okay, cool. And then of course, Ava. You know, I remember I saw Selma before Ava and I met ever. I saw Selma in the movie theater on Martin Luther King Day, and it was packed. And I was in the like balcony, and then there's a 4 seats. So I was like front row to balcony. The movie ended and it was so silent. I was crying and I was like, oh wow, it must be empty. Cause I always stay and watch the credits, right? I got to give it up for the crew. I always watch the credits, always. And I was crying. Then I heard, and I turned around, theater was full. Everyone was crying. I will never forget it. It was such a beautiful film. She did such incredible work. She always does. And then of course she gave me my career, my television directing career, and my Queen Sugar sister. She gave me a bunch of sisters I could call at any time and be like, yo, how high does that crane go if I get 30 foot? You know, like
here. Ava's building her own little Justice League right here. That's what she's doing. She's full of her crew and everything that she's putting together. So the last segment we do is called a recommendation. Now, I want to give you a recommendation. I like to give my guest recommendations, especially blurs or people who love comic books. I know that you're busy, right? And I know that you don't have that much time to sit down and read. So there's this guy that I interviewed. His name is Comicstorian. He's on YouTube. But what he does is he dramatically reads comic books. Like when I interviewed him, I told him, I said, you should really look into voice acting because he really like goes into making sure that he gives characters different voices. And he does like complete runs. He has playlists on his YouTube channel, but his name is Comicstorian. And I always tell people, like, if you ever want to get back into comic books and you just don't have the time to sit down and read, because of how he dramatically reads it, you can press play, have it in the background, and you find yourself getting into it like you're watching the show because of how he reads it, how he does each panel. So that'll be my recommendation to you. But the recommendation in general is either something you're reading, watching, listening to, but something that you think that our viewers and listeners should check out.
I really, oh man, okay. I'm gonna say just a few things if you don't mind, real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
I Station 11 on HBO Max.
Oh, Station 11.
Absolute, like I could talk about that forever. It's rare that I watch a show and I know it's based on a book, and even though I know that it's went differently than the book, I'm like, oh, I think I need to read the book. And then they have a Station 11 podcast. I had to go and listen to the podcast.
I love podcasts. So I'm gonna check it out. I didn't know that.
Listen, so because Watchmen had a podcast.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God, that podcast. I can't even.
Yeah.
I love that show so much.
Me too.
And then you know what? I really love Abbott Elementary on ABC. Quinta. Oh my God. Quinta, come on. He got money.
Right. That's what I love.
He got money now.
We saw that. We saw everything.
We saw it, right? Yeah. And Grand Crew. I'm really enjoying Grand Crew.
I haven't checked that one out yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah. On NBC. That's great. And then for a comic book, it's like one of the old school ones, and I mentioned this before, that I really dug, that if you could find it, I think it's worth it, is Shade the Changing Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I got asked, like, what would you do if you could do a comic? I said, I really like to do Shade the Changing Man. Yeah. It'll be a lot of VFX, it'll be a lot of madness, but I'd be into that.
All right. So where can my people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram, just my name, on Twitter. I live tweet episodes of NAOMI.
Yes,
every night. I'm gonna do it listen, I love live tweeting. It's like watching television with, like 100,000 of your friends at the same time. Some people are so quick with the meetings. Oh my God. Ava Duvernay fans always so quick. So quick. So that's where I am.
All right, well, this has been One-on-One with Deuces. I've been Deuces. This has been the amazing, multi-talented, 40 plus hats. I forgot to say that earlier, but 40 plus hats, DeMane Davis. And we are out. Peace.
Flawless victory.